be brought promptly before the competent judicial authority in the custodial state, which shall determine in accordance with the law of that state that the warrant applies to that person, the person has been arrested in accordance with the proper process, and the person's rights have been respected. No? Meron pa nga rito na the person arrested shall have the right to apply to the competent authority in the custodial state for interim release. Pwede pa nga mag-request ng interim release eh. But of course, pag ginrant yung interim release, the custodial state will have to inform the ICC or the International Court. So it's very clear even in the Rome Statute na hindi pwede yung basta pagka-aresto, diretso sa aeroplano para i-deliver.
Yes.
And it's the Rome Statute. It's
I agree with your interpretation, Mr. President. Not only as a senator but as the former chief PNP. Ang point ko lang kasi dito, Mr. President, in the previous constitutions, the Constitution allowed other authorities to issue warrant of arrest. But in the 87 Constitution, it's very clear, it's only a judge. And kailangan may personal examination.
Yeah, personal examination.
So, if you look at the ICC comprehensively and of course Article 59, ang keyword dyan is complementarity eh. Dapat nagko-complement yung dalawa. So, if you look at UK, Canada, South Korea, for example, Mr. President, Argentina, Paraguay, South Africa, all of them have provisions, whether it's arrest to extradition or whether it's surrender, it gives the individual being arrested an opportunity to run to their local courts. So,
I agree. I completely agree, Mr. President, because it is an utter disrespect to the local court or local authorities to just, without passing through the normal judicial process here, at least for authentication, for verification, the person that has been issued the warrant of arrest will just be brought out of the country. So, but some legal experts are invoking RA 9851, yung sa Crimes Against Humanity. And mind you, Section 17, malinaw din po rito na hindi naman po mandatory. Hindi ito yung kailangan pagka nahuli, kailangan i-turn over. Kasi hindi po siya lang ginamit eh. In the interest of justice, the relevant Philippine authorities may dispense with the investigation or prosecution of a crime punishable under this act if another court or international tribunal is already conducting. Well, that's another matter. Instead, the authorities may surrender or extradite suspected or accused persons in the Philippines to the appropriate international court, if any, or to another state pursuant to the applicable, not applicable here, the extradition, because we're not dealing here with the extradition. So, hindi naman po mandatorily expressed, or hindi mandatory yung sinasabi ng 9851 na i-turn over.
well, Mr. President, 2 points. One, in the Pangilinan versus Cayetano case, it was made very clear that
Who's that Cayetano, Mr. President?
I was Secretary of Foreign Affairs at that time. So my name was by the process of the Supreme Court, but actually yung Solgen naman po ang nag-file talaga ng legal arguments, Mr. President. And of course, it was Senator Kiko Pangilinan. So, of course, the main issue was whether or not the President can get out of a treaty without concurrence of the Senate. But meron pong discussion doon na sinasabi na ang treaty kailangan complies with the Constitution. So, any treaty, for example, Mr. President, that says that anyone can arrest anyone but hindi dadaan sa judge, that's unconstitutional. So if you look at all other countries, ine-emphasize nila yung constitution din nila. And if you look at the Rome Statute, wala namang conflict po eh. Sinasabi din ng Rome conflict nandun eh. Secondly, Mr. President, of course, we entered the Rome Statute and the ICC, we ratified it after we passed this law eh. So meaning even assuming you can surrender someone, that doesn't mean that he cannot go to the judge and question whether... So for example, Mr. President, hinuli si Joel Villanueva pero sinabi si Win Gatchalian siya.
Yes.
I mean, it might be funny to us and we might know the difference between the two gentlemen. Minsan yung media nagkakamali. But what if you had actual twins, di ba? Si Alan Tan and Ping Tan, and ang hinuhuli si Alan, si Ping ang nahuli. Di ba? Shouldn't he have the opportunity to go before the court and say, we might have the same DNA, baka magkamukha kami, but that's not me, that's my brother. So this is the most simple case I can think of. And some people will say na hindi na kailangan to kasi umalis na tayo sa ICC. But remember, Mr. President, so far, no, ang sabi ng ICC, basta't yung period na may jurisdiction pa sila. So kung bigla tayong may nakitang mass grave dito at pinagbintangan yung ibang leader ng ibang insurgency, pwede na lang silang damputin. Or for example, sa Marawi, what if someone shows the ICC certain footages na hindi kompleto at pinalabas ay may binomba na eskwelahan or ospital at crimes against humanity to or war crimes to? Will we not allow our generals to go to our court muna? I mean, that's one reason the United States and China, Russia have not ratified or have not joined the ICC because nga of the wartime actions of their military. But in our context, Mr. President, recently, even just former Justice Secretary Aguirre was named dun sa co-conspirator. Ang lapit na ho sa presidente nun kasi alter ego na yon eh. So for example, no, and I hanga ako sa tao na to, no, but and there's no imputation of anything to him, but for example, Mr. President, Secretary Anyo is now our national security advisor, but he was DILG during Marawi. I cannot see a situation where the ICC wants to arrest him and bigla na lang natin siyang isasakay sa plano without him being allowed to go to court, no, or to the Solgen to what do you call this, to make representations in our local court. So, dun papunta, Mr. President, yung aking thinking sa resolution na to.
Yes. You mentioned mistaken identity because of some lookalikes, ano? And you also mentioned Vitaliano Aguirre. And I have a staff member who looks like Vitaliano Aguirre. He's here.
Oo naman.
Mr. President, Vince Dizon is also here.
So, talagang totoo yung sinasabi nyo. Kailangan talaga dumaan sa local court para man lang ma-authenticate yung real identity ng person who is subject of a warrant of arrest. No? And are you also familiar with Article 89 of the Rome Statute?
Not so much with Article 89.
Dito
Mr.
po,
President.
ganun din. Wala namang konflikto sa article kanina, sa 59, or what's that? Anyway, nakalagay dito, the court, meaning the international court, may transmit a request for the arrest and surrender of a person together with the material supporting the request outlined in Article 91, that's another article, to any state on the territory of which that person may be found, and shall request the cooperation of that state in the arrest and surrender. Anyway, minention din dito na state parties shall, in accordance with the provisions of this part and the procedure under their national law. No? When the national law that is referred to here is 9851, which I mentioned earlier, as I mentioned earlier, hindi naman po mandatory yung...
Sir President, I agree with the gentleman, Senate President Pro Temp, and I think it falls upon the Supreme Court to come out with its rules. Yung isang reason po nagbunsad sa akin na i-draft tong resolution na to, nung in-announce ng ICC na meron silang tinatawag na secret warrant of arrest. And I understand. Kasi nga, if you're dealing with war crimes or with genocide, Mr. President, and you're talking about dictators that have billions of dollars and can hide all around the world, you don't want to give them advance notice. But on the other hand, Mr. President, if you look at our Constitution, the person has the right to see the warrant and to be informed of the charges. And my interpretation is a local judge has to see that. So for me, there's no conflict if the Supreme Court has certain rules regarding that. No? So meaning, halimbawa po, Mr. President, pag dumating yung request dito, mapunta sa isang judge, he's not allowed to discuss it or announce it publicly until he issues the warrant of arrest and then an operation for the arrest. Ang point lang sa akin, Mr. President, before he is removed from this country, ma-redress niya pa rin yung sarili niya sa korte.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. And as I mentioned earlier, I fully support this Senate resolution, of course, subject to style,
Yes,
based
thank
on
you,
what
Mr.
we have agreed earlier. So that's all, Mr. President, and I will continue to support this resolution. Thank you very much.
I thank you, Mr. President, for that interpellation, and maybe we can look at the whereas clause that can be interpreted as political and not only subject to style but also in substance, so that this can be a bipartisan measure that will ensure the constitutional rights of all Filipinos. Thank you very much, Senator Lacson, for that interpellation.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and Madam President, and to our dear colleague. Senator Cayetano, to our Minority Floor Leader, I just got a text message. There's just some proposed amendments. There are no longer any more interpellations, so maybe we can close the period of interpellation. And on Monday, I believe the Senate President would like to propose amendments together with Senator Lacson and Senator Kiko Pangilinan as well.
Yes.
So if it's all right, we can close the period of interpellation. for
And
the
Mr.
moment.
President, our staff can also
Work together.
discuss so that we can consult everyone and reword it. I think it's a good day and a good opportunity to just clarify this. And may I just emphasize again, in the end, unless kasi we amend this Republic Act or come up with a new law, which will take time, it really falls, this is really a sense of the Senate. And I think one of the addresses will really be the Honorable Supreme Court. They did come out with rules for extradition. But I think there was a statement that it might not be applicable to rules of surrender under this RA. So maybe some clarity will come out of this. So again, thank you, Majority Leader, and to
Thank you.
our Madam Senate President.
So with that, Mr. President, Madam President, the status is that we are
After closing,
after close.
may
Ah,
manifestation.
Monday pa tayo magko-close. Monday pa.
Yes,
Interpellation, yes. With that, Mr. President, Senator Bamakino pala wants to interpolate still on Monday, if that's all right, sir. Minority Floor Leader. I just got the message. He's not here. He's out of town. So with that, Mr. President, we move to recognize first before we suspend consideration, Senator Christopher Bongo.
The gentleman from Davao, Senator Bongo, is recognized to interpellate.
Mr. President, in relation to our effort to protect all Filipinos against extraordinary rendition, allow me to deliver a manifestation. Actually, it's not a interpellation.
To
Mr.
deliver a
President-
manifestation, the gentleman is recognized.
Mr. President, members of this August chamber, I rise to today to mark a date for many Filipinos will never be forgotten. Nagkataon rin po ngayong araw na ito, exactly March 11.
Yes, we just want to clear, Madam Sponsor. So my apologies to Senator Bongo not to how do you say, disturb his manifestation. But maybe it might be proper to suspend consideration first of the measure, and then he can proceed with his manifestation. His manifestation is like a privileged speech, I believe. So it's not, is it a privileged speech? Mr.
No,
President?
it's related also to the topic being
On
discussed.
107? Okay, we can proceed, Madam President. My apologies. You can be part of the records of this particular discussion on resolution number 207. My apologies, my apologies. You may go.
Please
Hindi stop.
proceed, Senator Go.
Go.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of this August chamber, I rise today to mark a date that for many Filipinos will never be forgotten. Nagkataon rin po, exactly today, 1 year na po, no? March 11, 2025. Last year, on this very same day, was one of the saddest days in our history. It was a day when emotions ran high across our country, a day when millions watched in disbelief as former President Rodrigo Duterte was taken and brought in The Hague. Nakakalungkot po na alalahanin ang mga nangyari sa ating mahal na dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte na nagsakripisyo at ibinigay ang lahat ng kanyang makakaya ayon sa batas, bunsod ng kanyang labis na pagmamahal sa ating mga kababayan, lalo na sa mga mahirap at ordinaryong Pilipino. Mr. President, for many of us, it was more than a headline. It was more than a political issue. It was a moment that stirred memories and deep questions about our history as Filipinos. For in that moment, we saw not just a former president, but a man who once carried the mandate of millions, a man who rose from his humble beginnings in Davao City and stood at the helm of this country. It is true, Mr. President, that there are moments that divide our opinions but unite our emotions. March 11 was one of those moments. Across homes, communities, and provinces, countless Filipino witnessed how someone they once entrusted with the highest office of the land was made to face prosecution and judgment far from his real home. Akalain ninyo, Mr. President, isang taon na pala ang lumipas, ngunit parang kahapon lamang nangyari ang lahat sapagkat ngayong araw na to, hanggang ngayon po, ay ang kalungkutan at pangungulila ay nananatili pa rin sa puso ng marami nating mga kababayan. 1 year has passed, yet the emotions remain as vivid as ever. The pain, the questions, and the sense of loss are still felt by many Filipinos who remember that moment not merely as a political event, but as a deeply personal chapter in their lives. That is why, Mr. President, in times like this, we must pause and reflect on principles that go beyond personalities and politics. We must ensure that what happened to former President Duterte should never happen again to anyone. No Filipino, regardless of position, influence, or political affiliation, should ever feel that the legal processes meant to protect our people can be set aside or disregarded. Siguraduhin natin na hindi na maulit sa kahit sino man ang pagsasantabi ng mga legal na proseso. This issue is greater than any of us or any personality. What is at stake here is our sovereignty and judicial independence as a sovereign nation and the dignity of every Filipino. Kung ang isang dating pangulo ng ating bansa ay maaring tratuhin ng ganito, paano na lang po ang ordinaryong Pilipino? Nakakalungkot po, matanda na si Tatay Digong. In fact, yung picture na lumabas dyan na merong oxygen concentrator, totoo po yun. Panahon ng pandemya, bit-bit niya to parate kahit saan siya nag-travel. Alam naman natin na matapang siya at matatag siya, pero kitang-kita ko na rin ang kanyang iniinda. 71 years old na po siya ngayong March 28. At fragile na po siya. At maaaring 81 na po siya. 81 years old na po siya sa March 28. Kumbaga harmless at fragile na po si Tatay Digong. Hindi na siya dapat ipinilit ilayo sa bansa. Hirap na po siyang maglakad. Nakasungkod na nga po siya. Maski pagtali ng sariling sintas, hindi na niya maabot. Lahat naman tayo ay tumatanda. Lahat tayo ay may minamahal na lolo, lola at tatay at mga kaibigang may edad na. Dapat po ay alagaan na lang po sila rito. Ang sakit na makita na yung taong binigay ang lahat para sa atin ngayon ay mag-isa sa isang kwarto sa banyagang bansa. Sana muling magkaisa ang mga Pilipino. Sana matuldukan na ang pagkawatak-watak nating mga Pilipino. Imbis na umunlad, bigla tayong umurong. OFWs nga, pinapauwi natin. Noong panahon ni dating Pangulong Duterte, yung iba nagre-raise po ng funds para pambigay po doon sa blood money, no? na para mapauwi lang po yung ating mga kababayang OFWs. Yun po yung ginagawa namin noon, na ginagawan po ng paraan na makauwi dito yung mga kababayan nating Pilipino. Pero baliktad po ang nangyari kay Tatay Digong. Bakit natin isinuko ang sariling nating lahi? Pilipino rin po si Tatay Digong. Hindi dapat siya pinamimigay sa dayuhan. Mr. President, ang bawat Pilipino, mataas o mababa man ang katayuan sa buhay, saan man sa mundo, dapat may gobyernong masasandalan na hindi siya pababayaan. Former president man o hindi, karapatan yan, lalo na po pagdating sa kanyang kalusugan, kaligtasan at buhay. Mr. President, the world today is full of wars, bombings, and mass killings. Walang kasiguraduhan ang bukas para sa lahat. We will never know what will happen tomorrow, and in times like this, let us take it as a call for Filipinos to come together. Let us stand as one, no matter our status, our color, or our political beliefs. Siguraduhin natin na ang bawat Pilipino, anuman ang kanyang estado, kulay at paniniwala, o kinabibilangan sa politika, ay protektado at nirerespeto po ng estado. And today, wherever history ultimately places our former President Duterte, one thing remains undeniable. He became a defining figure in the lives of millions of Filipinos. Finally, Mr. President, I humbly ask for everyone's prayers for former President Rodrigo Duterte, prayers for his health, his safety, and his well-being. May he be protected, guided, and keep strong as he faces the days ahead. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President, Madam President. Madam President, to allow Senator Bam to still pursue his interpellations and Senator Kiko on Monday, move to suspend consideration of the same.